Hey, you guys, happy Thursday. How's it going? Let me fix my light here for a second. Is that a little bit better? I want to be bright, but holy moly. All right, good evening, everyone. Come in here if you're live with me. Thursday night food tracking training, the good, the bad, and the truth. You guys know that I am all about education. I want to give you guys all the information, and then you make your own decision on what is best for you. Comment here in the chat if you're here live with me. If you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag replay. What I also love to see right now, guys, is comment here in the comment area if you're currently tracking your food. Hey, Chloe, what's going on, girl? Like, are you tracking your food? Tell me how you're tracking it, how it's working for you. So go ahead, while you're joining me, guys, share with me your current experience with food tracking, how you're doing it, maybe why you're doing it, if it's working for you. Go ahead and share with me your experience, and I can totally kind of talk about your experience if you have questions. If you do have questions during my training tonight, guys, go ahead and comment here in the chat too, and I'll make sure that I respond. If you're watching the replay and have questions, you can go ahead and comment as well in the replay, and then I will answer the questions when I see them. Okay, make sure you tag me in it so I can see it. But I'm super excited for tonight's training because, guys, people have so many different opinions about food tracking. And the other day in the group, I posted, like, what are your thoughts on food tracking? And I got all kinds of comments. Love-hate relationship, thumbs down, right, Matt? Or it's awesome, or, I find it cumbersome. Like, people have so many feelings about it. And so I kind of want to talk about the good. Where's the good? There it is. Good, the bad, which is the middle, the truth. Okay, because truth be told, guys, food tracking is a very valuable resource. And I want to help you guys understand why that is, where there are some consequences with food tracking and how we can get better with it. And then also how we can really help us learn a lot about ourselves. And those of you like Chloe, for example, she's down over 15 pounds, right, Chloe, in the Create My Weight program. And food tracking is working really well for her. But if we don't do it properly, it can do more of a disservice and be more of just like a taxing, time sucker, right? But even if you're not on the weight loss journey, food tracking is super helpful for a number of reasons. So let me go ahead and jump right into this topic right now and not waste any time. Here we go. So the good, I'm going to come over here for this. All right. So the first thing that's really helpful with food tracking is that it makes us think. All right. So comment in the chat here. Hey, Amy, what's going on? Comment here in the chat if when you are tracking, whether you're on MyFitnessPal or whether you're in a journal, if you think before you put things in your mouth because you have to write it down on a piece of paper or in your journal or in your app. Hashtag that's me. If you actually think more about what you're eating because you're food journaling, right? It makes us think. It holds us accountable. Otherwise, oftentimes we just put things in our mouth. Oh, I'm just gonna eat lunch, eat dinner. I'm not even knowing what I'm eating. I'm not even thinking about what I'm eating, right? We're just getting food in our system. I don't know if this is healthy for me. I don't know if these foods combined is good. Am I getting enough protein? Am I doing too many fats? Whatever, right? We don't care. It's just food. So food tracking does hold us accountable to think about our nutrition. And understanding nutrition is everything, right? That is key. Understand nutrition. Hashtag understand nutrition. We don't have to worry about counting calories and tracking macros. That's not what I mean by food tracking. I know to some people here watching this video that is food tracking to you and going into MyFitnessPal and logging everything that you eat. Comment in the chat if you're doing that, right? Chloe, I know you're not doing that. You're using my protocol. And I know you tracked in Weight Watchers in the past, right? And so some people love tracking their food because it holds them accountable and they are aware of what they're putting in our body. And I think that's great, right? So we're less likely to have an extra helping of ice cream or extra glass of wine if we're tracking everything, right? Now, the other benefit of food tracking is that it is valuable. And I want to say it's invaluable, the best data collection, right? It does teach us what foods work for us, right? So if I'm on the weight loss journey, for example, and I know something's working for me, right? Whatever nutrition I'm eating, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, desserts, whatever, and I have it written down and I'm losing weight week after week, I know these foods serve me, right? Or if I'm struggling, I know what foods don't work, right? I'm starting to learn what foods bloat me, right? Or what foods make me retain water. Or if I go out to eat, Saturday, Sunday, I know it's going to affect me on Monday, right? And I can look at my food journal oh yeah, that's why I gained weight. I was out to dinner. Sometimes people don't realize that. you know, or like, oh, like I've been eating super healthy Monday through Wednesday. I don't know why I put on weight by Thursday. Well, if I ate out on Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, or if I overeat on Wednesday, oh, well, that's why the scale might be affected Thursday, right? And so it really does help us know like what behaviors are not serving us as well as the food, right? Um, this is huge, guys. And you know, those of us who are not on the weight loss journey, this is actually one of the reasons why I track my food from time to time. And I've talked about bloating issues I've had in the past. And I know I've told you guys too, like, you know, no, full transparency that my bloating is typically not food related, right? It's typically stress related. And comment in the chat here if you struggle with bloating, right? And also, guys, like one of the reasons why we do track our food is so we can learn about any foods that we might be allergic to or might have a sensitivity to. There's a difference between an allergy and a sensitivity, right? I also want to make note of that. But for example, like if we're breaking out, right, oftentimes that is food related, right? So for example, like as much as I like soy, like I am plant-based, I know certain soy products cause me to break out and it kills me because I like soy, but I get little cystic pills or pimples on my face. And so I'm like, shit, I can't eat this food. So I've become more mindful, right? So that's one of the benefits of tracking. We can kind of learn, you know, what in our diet or in our lifestyle are causing these undesirable results. Okay. Or if you're bloating from certain foods, like I know, for example, if I eat too much cauliflower, right? If I have it for lunch and dinner, I am bloated the rest of the day, right? Or even into the next day. But if I have it just for lunch, I'm fine. And I've learned that by tracking my food, right? So even if you're not on the weight loss journey, food tracking is invaluable. Okay. Lastly, the good news about food tracking, one of the benefits of it, is that there are so many ways to do it, right? So for example, Chloe here live, she uses my nutritional protocol, but she also likes the Weight Watchers, you know, because she's been doing that for a long time, right? Amy, I see you're live here. Tell me how you track your food, right? You know, Danita and Jocelyn, they're sisters. And it's so ironic, actually it's not, that they do the same thing. They like to take pictures of their food, right? That's another way to track. You know, there's all different ways to do it. I like having a journal. Like I'm a pen and paper kind of girl. Like going into an app is so cumbersome for me. And I don't really like looking for the right brand or the right portion size. And if you use things like MyFitnessPal, like there's so many options for like broccoli or like veggie burger, right? I can be in there for forever. So there's so many different ways to food track. And in Create My Weight, like we don't track calories, right? Or I don't have them measuring out everything. That's not what we do. We don't count macronutrients, right? We're really just learning about how to put these meals together. So that's what Chloe means by the nutritional protocol that she just commented on. Okay, so the good news is with food tracking, you know, there's variety. And oftentimes people want variety in not just how they eat or how they exercise or how they move, but also in how they, you know, track their food or how they lose weight, right? It's good to have variety in everything in life. I always say this, how we do one thing is how we do everything. All right, now the consequences of food tracking, right? And this is where food tracking can almost do a disservice, right? Or it's not helping us at all. Accuracy. Okay, so there is a notorious statistic, you guys, that people typically underreport how much they consume. Anywhere from 20 to 30% error in how much they're reporting. So, for example, people will tell me, oh, I just had coffee for breakfast, and then lunch I had a salad, and then dinner I had like salmon and broccoli, right? And that's what they're like, I don't understand why I'm not losing weight. But I'm like, okay, well, what's in your coffee, right? Oh, well, I've got sugar and I've got creamer. I actually went to Starbucks and I got like a cappuccino or something, right? And like here they are thinking it's like 5 calories or like something nominal, and it's like really like a 300 calorie beverage. Again, not worry about the calories, but all the ingredients, right? And so that's where we have to be really cognizant. Or like salad. Okay, well, what's on your salad, right? Same thing. Just because you're getting salmon and broccoli at a restaurant, right, doesn't mean that's going to be as calorically dense. It's usually more calorically dense than if you're eating it at home, right? Eating out, typically, if we eat out all the time, especially, that's not going to serve you on the weight loss journey. Can you eat out and lose weight? Absolutely. I have clients do it all the time. I've done it in the past as well. It's completely doable. I always want this lifestyle to be sustainable. However, we can't expect to eat out every single meal, right? And so oftentimes people are like, oh, I don't understand why I'm not losing weight, right? So underreporting what we're eating, timeliness. All right. Comment in the chat if you're the kind of person where like you'll eat for a whole week, like Monday through Friday, and then one day over the weekend you'll write down everything you ate. Or like you'll write it down Monday, or like, you'll eat Monday and then Tuesday you'll write down everything you ate Monday. Right? I used to do that. You forget. We forget all those like extra chicken nuggets we ate off our kids' plates, that extra serving of M&Ms, right? That extra glass of wine, right? Or that dessert you had, which you weren't going to have, but you ended up eating it, and then you forgot to write it down. Right? So that's another problem. When someone comes to me and they're like, oh, well, I just had coffee and then a salad and then salmon and broccoli for dinner. I don't know why I'm not losing weight. Well, are you honest and timely in your food tracking? And if we're not, then we're not getting the full picture, right? So the bad part about food tracking, guys, is that we're not always getting the full picture. Okay, super, super important. All right. Also, lots of variables. And Brenda commented on this the other day that she's like, it works for me, but it's exhausting. All right, comment in the chat, that's me. If you find food tracking to be exhausting, right? Like looking up the calories and that's how you do it. I hate that version, sorry. Or if you're looking up foods, right? The problem, with food tracking, in order to be really helpful to you, sometimes we focus on the wrong variables, right? Like for example, time. I'm always asking clients of mine, especially in the beginning, right? Like clients in Create My Weight don't have to track their food the whole time they work with me. I actually give them an option not to track their food, right? And to do different things. But one of the things I'm big on is timing, right? I like to know when people eat their meals because oftentimes people tell me, well, I'm starving at nighttime. I don't understand. And if I look at what they're doing during the day, I'm like, well, I can tell you why you're starving at night. Not only are you under eating, or it's just the timing of their meals, right? So timing is super important. Portions too, especially for like foods that we're not always mindful of, like nuts, right? So for example, like someone will say, oh, I have a handful of nuts for lunch. Well, a handful of nuts to you might be 2 to me, or like what is a handful of nuts, right? Or I just had almonds. Okay, almonds, I love almonds. I am nuts for nuts, y'all. Like I love them, but they're just as much of a weight gaining food as they are a weight loss food. Right? I've worked with women that want to gain weight, and guess what? I tell them eat nuts. Right? They're healthy. Chloe, I try to write it out ahead of time to plan. Yes, that's great. That's a great benefit of food tracking. It's like if you write out your meals in advance, then you kind of set yourself up for success, right? Failing to plan is planning to fail. Okay, so food tracking can definitely help with that. Chloe, I should have put that over here. Good job. That was a good one. Food combining. Okay, so oftentimes people just write down their food, right? Okay, I ate this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but they don't look at what they're actually doing. And then they're having issues with digestion. And they're like, oh, I'm bloated, or I feel sick, or I'm constipated, like whatever. And they're not really looking at why that's happening, right? And so oftentimes if we don't know about what we're eating in the food combining, right? Like I've talked about this, Chloe, you know this. I've talked about like eating too much protein with like beans and legumes. Like oftentimes people can't handle those two things together for digestive reasons, right? It's a lot for our body to process protein and beans at the same time, right? But like that's big, but some people can do fine with it. It really depends on the person. So, we don't always look at the right variables. People are too focused on calories and on macronutrients, and they're not looking at other important variables. And the problem why is because it's exhausting. They're looking at too many things. So they're like, oh, I gotta look at calories and I gotta look at this. Screw it. I don't want a food track. I don't want to do this at all. Right? So the truth about food tracking, which I'm gonna get to right now, okay, it's important to do it, right? Unless you're eating the same thing 7 days a week, which sounds terrible. I would not recommend that either. And are happy with results consistently, right? So if you're eating the same things and you're getting the results that you want, like Chloe, for example, you're here live, like you could probably stop food tracking, right? I know you won't because that's not your personality, but you probably don't need to at this point. You know exactly what foods work for you. You've lost the weight, you already hit your goal weight less than halfway through the program, right? So like you're good to go. But unless you're Chloe, right? Most people like we do need to food track to know what foods serve us, right? I know when I was on the weight loss journey, when I stopped food tracking, I was not as accountable, right? So that's why it can be definitely beneficial. It's important, so unless you're getting the results, all right? The other truth about food tracking, it is only one piece of the equation, okay? So if you're food tracking for weight loss purposes, we can't just obsess over food tracking. It's not just about the food journal, right? There are so many other things. What does your movement look like? Are you also tracking your workouts, right? Like how often you're working out, how long you're working out, what kinds of workouts are we doing? What about other movement? Like, are you sedentary besides your fitness, right? Are you hitting those fitness goals that you set for yourself each week? And if not, why? What's getting in your way? Let me fix the light here. It's a little bright. Okay. Sleep. Oh my God, this is huge. I've literally worked with clients that when their sleep affects their weight every week because they will eat the same foods, they'll do the same workouts, everything's the same, but their sleep is off. And guess what? This is what happens with their weight, right? So oftentimes we're focusing too much on the food and we're not looking at a really important factor. Comment in the chat if you struggle with sleep and your sleep is inconsistent and then you notice your weight's inconsistent. And guess what? A lot of people have questions about like hormones. Oh my gosh, well, I think like my thyroid, I have, hypothyroidism, right? And so like I can't lose weight because of that. Well, guess what? Guess what affects your hormones, guys? Your sleep. Yes, nutrition, yes, environment, and all these other factors affect your hormones, but sleep is so important on this journey. Mark my words. Stress and other emotions. Okay, so comment here in the chat. That's me. If when you are on the weight loss journey, if your emotions are like this, so is your weight. Okay, comment in the chat if that's you. Right, so oftentimes, again, people are so focused on what they're eating and they're not looking at other things in their life, stress and emotions, that are 100% going to affect the number on the scale. Okay, because when our body is holding stress, it is going to affect how we release weight. Okay, bottom line. And I also want to say something too about stress. Because oftentimes, people might say, well, I don't experience stress. That's fine. Stress is actually not an emotion. Stress is a byproduct of other emotions: fear, inadequacy, loneliness, depression, anger, guilt, shame. I mean, there's so many I can talk about. So stress is not an emotion. Overwhelm could be an emotion, sure. But stress is the byproduct of other emotions. So if you're not dealing with this, then the food journal, the food tracking is inconsequential because this has to be managed too. And also, guess what, guys? Like, if you're stressed, who wants to track their food? I don't, for sure. All right, last but not least, food quality and supplements. Are you paying attention to the quality of your food? Oftentimes, people are so like hell bent on what they're eating, right? Like portions, calories, but they're not looking at the quality of the food and they're not looking at their supplementation, right? If your body needs certain nutrients, are you getting them every day? Are you consistent with that? And that's why I put a box over here for consistency. I know this is super small, so I'm reading it out loud. Consistency is key. What we do consistently is who we will become, right? How many times have I said that in my trainings, you guys? My CMW clients here live, how many times do I say that? All the freaking time, okay? And that is, food tracking is key. You gotta do it consistently if you wanna see the results, right? And so if we're constantly eating good foods and red supplements and doing all of these things, right? Weight loss, guys, is so much more than food. And those of you in CMW, you know that, right? You might not come into it thinking that, but at least over a month in, you're like, oh yeah, you're totally right. Hey Jen, what's going on, girl? So yeah, you guys, that's really it with food tracking. I just want you to understand, I think the biggest takeaway, and I want you guys actually here live, or if you're watching the replay, comment in the chat here with your big takeaway from today's training. All right, what did you learn about food tracking? How do you do it? Are you going to keep doing it? But my point is, it's very valuable, but I don't want it to consume your life. Okay, it shouldn't be exhausting. If anything, it should be enlightening, right? And if you don't have an enlightening, helpful way to track that's getting you results, then it's time to change it up, right? MyFitnessPal is not serving you. You find it annoying. If Weight Watchers is annoying, if Noom's annoying. I had someone tell me the other day that Noom really annoyed them because it just kept saying like bad food, bad food, bad food. Like I know they have red, yellow, and green, but guys, like that's not how you want to look at food long term, right? So if you're looking for something that's not exhausting, right? If you're looking for something that's helpful, right? That's going to give you data that you need and teach you about your body, what foods work for you, and what is sustainable for your life, I can totally help you with that. Chloe just mentioned it. I have a protocol that we use, right? Super easy way to track your food. And again, it's not something you have to do for life. It's just a way of learning nutrition, right? Understanding calories and macronutrients, not counting them. Ugh, that is exhausting. I will never count calories in my life again, ever. Right? We don't do that in CMW, do we, guys? Okay, we're better than that. We're way above that. We understand nutrition. All right, so if you're looking for some help with better understanding what you're eating and actually getting results without putting in all this time and energy, right? Book a free call with me. All right, createmyweight.com/apply. All right, and I want to hear more about you and what you're doing right now and why it's not working. Okay. Yeah, no more counting calories, right, Jen? Yeah. All right, no more counting calories, no more wasting your time and energy and money on doing things that don't serve you anymore. What are you waiting for? Right? Like, have a solution that works for you. And I always say this, ditch the diet and enjoy the journey, right? Food tracking should be enlightening, not taxing, and like not getting results from it. So if you're ready to get results, you're ready for a new system, my food freedom system, right? Book a call with me. All right. Createmyweight.com/apply. I'm way over time. I thought it'd be less time tonight. Jen, I'm so sorry. Jen's going to go teach her no bake brownie bites now in the CMW group. I'm going to hop over for that and check it out. But guys, much love. Comment in the chat if this training helped you. I hope it did. And I'll be here next week with a new training for you guys. All right. Much love. Bye, you guys. See ya.